Picture this: corn tortilla, folded by hand, filled with whatever you have. Today, tacos are eaten by billions of people every year, from street corners in Mexico City to food trucks in Los Angeles to fancy restaurants in Tokyo. But the taco's story goes back way further than most people realize, and it has almost nothing to do with the crunchy, hard-shell version most Americans grew up eating. Welcome back to the channel. Today, we're tracing the real history of the taco, from ancient Mexican tradition to a working-class meal to one of the most beloved foods on the planet.
The story of the taco starts long before the Spanish ever set foot in the Americas. Archaeological evidence suggests that people in the region we now call Mexico were using corn tortillas as a vehicle for food at least as far back as several thousand years. Corn, or maize, was domesticated in southern Mexico roughly 9,000 years ago, and it quickly became the foundation of an entire civilization's diet. The indigenous peoples of central Mexico, including the Aztecs, would grind corn into a dough called masa, flatten it by hand, and cook it on a flat clay surface called a comal. The tortilla itself was essentially edible plateware. Folding it around fish, beans, or insects to eat with your hands wasn't a special invention. It was just the most practical way to eat in a world without forks or plates. Now, here's something that surprises a lot of people. The actual word, taco, doesn't appear to have ancient Aztec origins at all. Most food historians trace it to 18th century Mexican silver mines. Miners used small explosive charges wrapped in paper to blast through rock, and these charges were called tacos. The theory goes that the food got its name because a folded tortilla filled with food looked similar to one of these little wrapped explosive charges. Whether or not this origin story is completely accurate is still debated among historians, but it's the most widely cited explanation, and it would explain why the word doesn't show up in any pre-colonial texts.
By the 19th century, tacos had become firmly established as working-class street food across Mexico, particularly in markets and around mining towns. Vendors known as taqueros would set up stands, selling tacos filled with whatever was cheap and available, usually offal, like tripe or other organ meats that wealthier people wouldn't eat, along with beans, chili peppers, and whatever fresh vegetables were in season. Regional variations developed rapidly across Mexico's different states, each with their own signature styles. In the Yucatan, tacos featured cochinita pibil, pork marinated in citrus and achiote and slow-roasted in banana leaves. In northern Mexico, tacos al carbón featured grilled meat cooked over open flame. Each region developed its own identity around this simple folded tortilla.
Tacos crossed into the United States the same way pizza and sushi did, through immigration. Mexican immigrants began arriving in significant numbers in the early 20th century, particularly in border states like Texas, California, and Arizona, bringing their food traditions with them. The earliest documented taco stands in the US appeared in Los Angeles in the 1900s and 1910s, run by Mexican immigrant women who became known as chili queens in some regions, selling tacos and other Mexican dishes from carts on city streets. For decades, tacos remained largely confined to Mexican-American communities in the Southwest, much like sushi stayed within Japanese communities before the California roll changed everything. The hard-shell taco that most Americans picture when they hear the word taco is actually a relatively recent American invention, and it doesn't really exist in traditional Mexican cuisine at all. In Mexico, tacos are almost always made with soft corn tortillas. The hard shell appears to have emerged as a practical solution for early American taco vendors. Pre-frying or pre-baking tortillas into a U-shape allowed them to be made in advance, stored, and filled quickly during busy service, turning tacos into something closer to true fast food. Glenn Bell, the founder of Taco Bell, is often credited with popularizing this format on a massive scale starting in 1962, building an entire fast food empire around the hard-shell taco. Today, Taco Bell alone serves billions of tacos every single year, but it represents a distinctly American reinvention rather than an authentic Mexican tradition.
The next major shift happened starting in the 2000s with the rise of the modern food truck movement. Chefs began experimenting with tacos as a format for high-end creative cuisine, fusing Mexican traditions with other culinary influences. Korean barbecue tacos, fish tacos with Asian-inspired slaws, and gourmet tacos using premium ingredients started appearing on food trucks in cities like Los Angeles and Austin. This movement is often credited with elevating the taco from cheap fast food back towards something resembling its more authentic, craft-focused Mexican roots, just filtered through American culinary creativity. Fish tacos in particular have an interesting origin story of their own. They're often associated with Baja California, where battered fried fish in a soft tortilla with cabbage and a creamy sauce became a regional specialty, eventually spreading north into San Diego and across the broader US through surf culture in the 1980s and 90s.
And then there's Taco Tuesday, a marketing phenomenon that became so culturally embedded that it actually led to legal disputes. Various restaurants and chains, including Taco Bell, attempted to trademark the phrase Taco Tuesday in different states over the decades, leading to lawsuits over who had the right to use it commercially. In 2023, Taco Bell actually petitioned to cancel existing trademarks on the phrase, arguing it had become so universally used in American culture that no single company should own it. They won, and Taco Tuesday is now legally recognized as too generic for any business to trademark exclusively in most of the US. Before we wrap up, let's talk about how far tacos have gone in terms of luxury. Because just like pizza and sushi, the taco has its own extreme. The most expensive taco ever created reportedly cost over $25,000 and was served at a restaurant in San Diego called Front Wave Arena, created especially for a charity event. It featured Kobe beef, langoustine, almas caviar, one of the rarest and most expensive caviars in the world, and was topped with gold leaf. The taco was wrapped, quite literally, in 24-karat gold. Most of that astronomical price came down to the caviar alone, which can cost tens of thousands of dollars per kilogram. The event raised money for charity, proving that even the humble folded tortilla, born from miners and street vendors, could be transformed into a symbol of pure luxury when pushed to its absolute extreme.
So here we are, from an ancient Mexican tradition older than written history, to a name possibly borrowed from mining explosives, to working-class street food filled with whatever was cheap and available, to an American fast food empire built on a hard shell that doesn't even exist in Mexico, to gourmet food trucks, to a $25,000 taco wrapped in gold. The taco survived colonization, crossed a border, got reinvented by immigrants, reinvented again by fast food chains, and reinvented one more time by chefs determined to bring it back to something resembling its roots. Through every single transformation, the basic idea never changed. A flat piece of bread, folded around something delicious, eaten with your hands. Today, tacos are eaten by billions of people across the globe, in more variations than anyone could count. They're not just Mexican food anymore. They've become one of the most universal, adaptable dishes on the planet. And the next time you fold one in your hands, remember, you're holding 9,000 years of history. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this story, subscribe for more. See you next time.